morning and welcome to Hump Day on Wednesday. Here we are on March 6th. Good morning. This is Rich Wallace, and you have tuned into an episode of Strictly Business. We are here Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday mornings at 7 a.m. Southern California time, tapped into what's going on. I want to talk to you now about your first quarter. It's wrapping up. January, February, you are in the middle of March. So, are you on target for what you said you were going to have done by the end of this year? So you should be at a certain point, and we're going to talk about targeting and getting your points together. We have a special guest, Mr. Jason Wallace. Is coming on in a couple of minutes. We're going to take a short break and then we'll come back with our guest, and we're going to be talking about how are you on schedule at the end of your first quarter. This is Rich Wallace. You have tuned into an episode of Strictly Business, part of the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce Edge TV network. And thank you so much for tuning in.
Business owners are raving about the new talk show, Strictly Business, with host Rich Wallace. Tune in as the top experts in business share their success stories, strategies, guidance, and advice to help you grow your business. With guests from the top companies to your favorite influencers, Strictly Business with host Rich Wallace is the show to watch for all things business. Our conversations are strictly business. We discuss new funding options, new business initiatives, best business practices, all things business explained. We provide you with the tips you need for your business, all in one morning business talk show. Be sure to tune in. Are you a business owner? Do you have a story to share? Are you able to help our audience? Then we want you on Strictly Business with host Rich Wallace. Visit the website at edgetvnetwork.net and select Be a Guest to schedule your appearance today.
So if you're looking at hanging out with us on our show, just go to our website at edgetvnetwork.net. Go to Strictly Business and schedule your time to come on the show. And speaking of on the show, we have our guest today, Mr. Jason Wallace, and we'll bring him in. Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Good morning. How are you?
We are doing well. Glad to have you on our show this morning. Jason is in Washington, D.C., and we're talking this morning, Jason, about the first quarter being wrapped up. How are you doing? And tell us about your business. And are you on target at the end of this first quarter coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, thank you for having me on. This is my first time here. You could have invited me earlier.
Yeah.
No, but things are going well in the first quarter. I think a lot of folks when they have their first quarter going right or wrong or not. From what I'm seeing, it's like people don't even take the time to plan out what their first quarter should look like. So my first quarter started off right because my wife and I sat down. We did 3 or 4 days of just intense planning for our year, mapped out our entire year. And I run a marketing business, digital marketing, community engagement called Blue Goose Solutions out here in DC. But mapped out what does our first quarter look like, and then like what are our measurements, like what are our daily steps, and then how do we measure that our success or failures for that. So it was great first quarter, and we're moving in the right direction.
So that was a good plan to sit down with your partner, your mate, and say, okay, this is how we're going to plan our first quarter and plan it together, as opposed to say, hey, here's a list of stuff I say I'm going to do. And
It's about alignment. I noticed it's about alignment because, it's hard for you to hit your goals. There's no more your goals or their goals. It's you all, it's together, right? It's our goals. So if I hit mine and you didn't hit yours, then we didn't hit ours. So us sitting down, and we actually went to like Capital One Cafe. It's like a cafe they have in the community. It's like a coffee shop kind of thing. We rented a room, and then there's other spaces. We went to several different spaces, and we rented rooms. We had whiteboards, and we really framed out what our year looked like. Not necessarily the task that we had to do, but more about who do we want to become? Who do we want to become? And then we use those things to define what we needed to do to become that thing.
so you took it from a corporate level and brought it inside of the house and say, we're going to go and write this up on the board, erase if it didn't come out right, manage the time, the family, the household, and the business in an environment away from home.
Exactly. Can't do it in the home because it's like it's easy to get distracted by dishes or got to pick this up or pick that up. And we literally went somewhere. We dropped the kids off for school and we went somewhere 8:30 in the morning, and we were there until it was time to pick the kids up. And we pre-ordered lunch. That's important to have lunch prepared unless you want to go out for lunch. It's like a thing you do, but you can pre-order lunch. The lunch will show up on time and you can just kind of eat, take a moment to talk, laugh, and then get right back to it. But really mapping out, who do you want to become? And then what are the metrics that you've defined to ensure that you're on track to become that thing?
Well, that is I'm impressed by your strategy in putting it together. Now that we're into the third quarter, is that target close? Or you ahead of it?
Yeah, I think that we are on track for who we want to become. I think the goal of this first quarter, we've identified we have different areas, right? And it's not just business. It's like faith, it's family, it's finances, it's friends, it's family. Like it's so many different areas. It's fitness, it's health. I know we just getting checkups. So we prioritize. I think my wife prioritized one. I prioritize two, and we go heavy in the elements that we prioritize, and then the rest. I think it's the difference with, and the rest we just make movement toward. And I'll define this as like the difference between progress and movement. And I'm learning that you can't do like, oh, I want to do all eight of these things and wake up early in the morning and stay up late and do all. It's impossible to do all these things extremely well. So which ones can we focus on intently and do those two, and which of the rest can we just have movement on? Right. One of the things that I did was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym 4 times a week. Did I create like a whole plan and what I'm gonna do and all that? No, I didn't do that yet because at this point, going to the gym and the success of that and how we've measured it is binary. It's binary. Did I go or did I not go? That's it. That's the two pieces.
Yeah.
And it's not the, oh, did I lift this many weight? Did I run this far? Did I go or did I not go? That's the movement, right? And in the areas of progress were areas of, personal development. Am I reading X amount of books? Am I reading 20 minutes a day? Am I, taking notes? Am I writing those down? Am I using like it's other areas of progress versus movement?
Yeah. So and I get that because just getting to the gym is kind of like, okay, showing up is half the job. So the amount of weight you lift or the amount of push-ups and all that other kind of stuff, I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter because showing up was the big thing. So especially if it's out of your routine. One of the things that we talk about in the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce to all of our small businesses is about showing up. So now you are self-employed, you work for yourself.
Absolutely.
So showing up is part of the thing. So what kind of clients are you looking for, or do you have? If I were going to use your service, how would I do it?
Absolutely. So I do community engagement and marketing, specifically digital marketing. I help people align their marketing efforts to their ideal audience and to bring in customers. I think a lot of times I say, what do you do? Who do you do it for? They say, oh, I do it for everybody. Everybody can use this. That's not an audience. Like you can't target everybody. So like if you think of it this way, right? Like let's say fitness. We used fitness earlier. Like, let's say a 17-year-old Black boy wants to be in fitness, and you have a 73-year-old Asian woman. Like, you can't, even though the fitness is the same, you can't talk to those audiences the same. Like, you have to talk to those audiences differently because their point in life. One is a grandmother, one's a mother, one's doing different things. One has a little more time, a little more muscle mass. Like, so you have to speak to them differently. So identifying who your target market is a crucial step that I see people miss. And I think we spend a lot of time on that. And we spend a lot of time on, for like coaching clients, I spend a lot of time on belief and action. I think those are the only two things that are really necessary for success in business. If you don't believe you can do it, you can't do it. And if you don't take any action toward it, I've seen people that are literally dumb as bricks still make it. They believe they can make it and they take the action. But those two areas of belief and action are crucial. So I spend a lot of time on that. So helping people, identify their audience and market toward their audience to get more sales is specifically what I do. And then, community engagement.
So when you talk about small businesses trying to engage in the community, we here at the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce have a small print shop. Well, we look at, well, everybody needs printing, so is everybody my client, or am I just looking for the high schools that do yearbooks, or how do you come into a business? Do you evaluate my customer after sitting with me for a week or so and seeing how I'm doing business, and then you begin to evaluate, or can you just look at the type of business that I am and go, okay, you need to do 1, 2, 3, and 4?
I would say, who do you currently serve? Who is your current audience? And then do you like working with that audience, right? I think some people have clients, people they work with, and they like this type of client and they don't like that kind of client. Or this one takes more of their time, or less of their time, but more of their energy. So I would say, okay, do you prefer B2B clients? Do you prefer B2C clients? Do you prefer, working with like doing yearbooks? Do you prefer doing that? And then we can do a marketed efforts, because technically everybody can be your client, but they won't, right? They won't be. So it's like, okay, who do we want? And I'll say this, right? Like, people who have special, like, it's called a niche, right? Some people call it niche, but I call it a niche. But it's like niching down to being clear about who your audience is, because while like, people that are specialists get paid more, right? If you go to a general practice doctor, that person gets less than a foot doctor or a throat, nose, and ear doctor, So it's like specializing in a particular thing. Are you the yearbook printer, right? Are you the business brochure printer? Are you the book printer? You say, hey, I print books for people starting, writing their own books. Like, you will attract that audience because you're speaking specifically to their pain point. So understanding who your audience is, understanding where your audience is, understanding their pain points, understanding and there's like tools to do this, right? I'm a big fan of AI tools. So there's a tool called FounderPal.ai, that will allow you to type in who your ideal audience is, and it'll create, here are their challenges, what they're thinking about, here's what keeps them up at night, here are their pain points, here are their, like, it really helps you shape a person. And then I work with clients to actually find a photo that they want to like and put it there. And then when you do targeted ads, you're talking to, and we're named that person, we're going to call her Sheila, and Sheila is going to be the person that we're going to talk to. And every ad needs to speak to Sheila this way. Now, if you want to have 7 different audiences, then you create 7 different people and you have 7 different campaigns and 7 different ads, but you can only sell one thing at one time to one person. And I see people with, 3 business cards, and then they're selling 3 different things. Oh, I got this and I got this and I do this thing and I do that thing. And that's okay to have all those things, but you can't sell all those things at the same time to the same person, to multiple people. You sell one thing, one time, to one person in one way. In one way. People email, in their email, they have like 3 different call to action: like, subscribe. Like, it's too much. You want people to like, then create content that makes them like it. You want people to subscribe, create content that makes them subscribe. If you want people to share, create content that makes them share. And there's different types of ways you can create content to get people to like. For instance, if you put a picture of you in that nice suit you got on, people are going to like that picture, right? They're not going to share it, because why would they share a picture of you in a suit? They're going to like it, right? Or they're going to hit the love button, right? If you create like, hey, here are 3 tips for businesses, share it with a friend, then those people are going to either share it a little bit more, right? Or, hey, here's a tool that you can use, like FounderPal. Download these next apps here. People are going to save that for later. They may be driving. I want to save this for later so I can look at it later. And you're driving the action based upon the type of content that you create. And you can do the same thing with email, the same thing with just in-person interactions. Like, what do you want people to do? People need to be able to understand what you do very quickly, understand how to break it down to explain it to somebody else. And people are wanting to connect you. They're wanting to use you, and they're hoping to. I learned that people, like, when they meet you, they're going to these networking events, they're looking for that person that can help them take them to the next level. So when you say, hey, my name is, they're hoping you're that person.
So now you say you use the IA tools,
AI.
whatever, AI tools. So how does a small business use something like that, or is it created for corporate level, you know, you hear a lot about it, but you know, the day-to-day guy, the plumber, and the guy that owns a car wash, how does an everyday small business use a tool like that, or do they just call somebody like you and go, hey, use this for me some kind of way?
Yeah, you can call somebody like me, but I'm expensive. So I think these tools. So I think these tools are really designed for solopreneurs, people that have and people that have small businesses with some employees, but it allows you to maximize. Um, I think to maximize your efforts, right? Some people use it in the wrong way. They'll say they go to say, "Hey, create a blog about this," and they'll copy and paste it and post it up, and it doesn't work, right? Because the element is no longer you, right? So it helps create you faster. So if you were to sit down and think about your audience and write down the tools, and usually when I talk to people, I'll ask them, "Hey, what do you think the pain points are about your audience? What do you think?" And I have them write it down, and then I have them use the AI tool and compare it. And it's pretty similar from what they came up with on their own if they know their audience well. Um, I think it allows you to really exponentially grow and scale, which are two different concepts. Um, your work, your impact, your effort, your energy, um, in ways that anything else has not been able to. And I've seen a lot of and as Black people, we tend to be behind the ball on new tech. But this is something that is here to support, and most of it is free. Most of it is free. So it doesn't make any sense not to use it.
So
And as
is
Black,
it that when you say us as a people, we're behind in technology, is that because we don't have time to, we're too busy doing it the old school way that actually works, to come along and try something new to see if it's going to save us some time and money? Why is it that we were so late on, still on MySpace when Facebook was coming up, you know?
I don't know why. I mean, I don't. That's more of a psychological. I don't know why. I think that I don't know. I have no idea why, but I think one of the things that the Black Chamber of Commerce does is that you all do amazing work about ensuring that people are aware, they know how to use it. I mean, I've been honored to host two different webinars specifically about AI, where I gave several tools to help people. If you have a presentation, you need to have slides written for you. Boom, this thing will do it in seconds. If you have a course that you're trying to create, this thing will do it in seconds. If you are creating a blog, writing a tool, writing a book, and you need illustrations done, this thing will do it for you in seconds. If you need a website built for you, this thing will do it in seconds. So now, will it be 100%? But no, but it'll give you 85% of the way to where you can go in there and adjust and make some changes. And I like to think of it as like an assistant. If you hire an assistant, that assistant's going to take you to a certain point. But as the director, as the founder, as the CEO, it's your job to take it, to make sure that it's buttoned up before it goes out to the world.
All right, and it seems like it does that. I've used it a little, stretching out, uh, but seniors try to do and try to explain how it works and how you can use it. But I can see how people will step in and begin to use it for other things. So in your marketing and promotional, do you normally deal with a lot of small businesses, or are you more into mainstream, Kellogg's and Xerox, or do you deal with Dick's copiers,
Yeah, I've dealt with a lot of mid-sized businesses. I have a couple of small clients that I work with. That's more like coaching, more coaching. And but I've worked with a lot of museums recently. I've been in a lot of museums, which is more community engagement. But at the end of the day, it's people to people. It's not like B2B, B2C. It's all H to H. It's all human to human. You're talking to a human every single time, whether they work at a business or not, or they work at government or not. It's still a person, and people have emotions, and how they respond to things differs. It differs. So having an expert come in, but yeah, I've worked for mostly mid-size, but I do take on some smaller clients, and now actually I get more joy out of the smaller clients because you can see the impact. With mid-size or large companies, it's so many things going on. It's hard to measure that this thing caused that. But when a small business, like say a dentist shop or it's a little bit, you can see like, oh, it was this month last month, and now we got this many sales this month. Like it's a drastic change you can directly pinpoint what was the things that were made.
We're going to take a short commercial break and we'll be right back.
One of the secrets to exposure for your business lies within supporting Black businesses and entrepreneurs. And that is why the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce is here to connect Black businesses from the desert to the sea. Let's join hands to empower and sustain our community. By becoming a member of the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce, you can grow your business and increase your clientele. With our innovation, we'll generate new businesses and get new customers. And we'll connect new mindsets with businesses from across Southern California to help bridge the wealth gap. Let's connect, build, and grow together. Join us now at blackchamberofcommerce.org.
And we're back here on Edge TV Network, Strictly Business episode on Wednesday morning with Mr. Jason Wallace, same name as myself. And I'm just talking to him about his small business and some of the things that they're moving forward in the direction that they're doing in the Washington, D.C. area. And being in Washington, D.C. with the climate, yesterday was Super Tuesday. A lot of different jobs changed, or people got better jobs or didn't get a job. How is the climate for businesses in such a political atmosphere that you see today? Small businesses are trying to get loans or not getting loans, or how do you see that working since you're out there in the Washington, D.C. area for small businesses?
Yeah, well, first let me say those commercials are nice. You got the nice screens and we got the B-roll. It looks nice on there. It looks, I got to learn how to do that. But the climate is cool, and I've done some political things. I've currently travel with the vice president, and I've worked with the White House for years, and I have from the vantage point that I have, I can see that like voting actually does change people's actual lives out here, right? Because there's people that have a job one week and next week they don't, because there's administration change, right? And then with those administration changes, the connections change. And with the connections change, particular contracts are affected, or particular relationships, or offices are closed. I remember, a different administration may close down an entire office that used to exist. It doesn't exist anymore. Those people now have to work somewhere else. And if, let's say if they're in the blue side and then the red side is in the White House, and then they're in the, they're also on the Hill, then those people can't get jobs because their connections don't work anymore. So it's like,
Yeah.
even if they go into the business world, right? And you see it like impacted like these large companies that have, people that are in government relations, government affairs. It usually is government affairs based upon who's in the space, right? Who's in the office, and they tend to have we tend to have a blue one and a red one there. But if they only have a blue person there and everybody that's red is there, is elected right now, that blue person can't do nothing. They don't have the connections, they don't have the bandwidth to do anything. So typically, if I'm leaving the White House and I'm in government and I want to get a job in corporate America, and the person that is coming into office is on the red side, it's hard for that person to find a job anywhere. Because
I never realized that every time they change, there are thousands of people out of work, and if you were on the wrong side, some of those people don't get jobs just because of the past relationships that they had.
Exactly. And it's not just in DC. It's like there's federal offices. There's a HUD office in almost every state. There's a HUD office. I was in Alaska. They had a HUD office in Alaska. Department of Housing and Urban Development is in Alaska. They have an office there. Department of Education, they have a office in Tennessee. Like these people, they're everywhere. And even though they're mostly career appointees, this stuff is really impacted by who's in office. So yeah.
So and I noticed that has the same type of impact on small businesses, on getting loans or doing certain things, getting government contracts. We here at the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce help people get certified so they can bid on, so they can get extra points for bidding on government, federal, and state contracts, getting minority certified, disadvantaged certifications and stuff through Department of General Services here in the Southern California region. They're very good at trying to get minority certified so that they can go in and become subcontractors or do bidding on federal jobs. And I believe the last administration made it possible for even a person with a felony to now work on federal jobs. I mean, they can't work at the bank, but they can move concrete, you know.
Can't work at the bank. Why can't they work at the bank?
I don't know. They still maybe have sticky fingers, you know. It works with concrete, you know. They can pour some concrete and they can do some things in that area. But it's great for people to be able to take care of themselves and to move forward with the way the economy is. At gas, I don't know what gas is where you are, but here we're almost at $6 a gallon, and it doesn't change the traffic pattern. The freeways are still packed up. But as we try to move more people into small businesses, brick and mortar is beginning to suffer. So we're now trying to put some programs together to get people in brick and mortar. And in your clients, are most of them brick and mortar businesses?
Yeah.
You work with libraries. What is I guess these clients too, because isn't it free to go to the library?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have library. I have museums, and some of the museums are free. Some of them are not free. But businesses run with traffic, and without traffic, even without traffic, businesses don't run. And some of them that are subsidized by the government, it's a little bit different. But if you're a small business, like, you need to have people to make it. It's like gas, right? It's like you mentioned earlier with gas, like, it makes the car go. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it just has to be. But with museums, it's like, they are paid to enter, so there is a transactions that are being made. But in those areas, they're more community engagement, so they're less focused on the number of people that are showing up, and they're more focused on who is showing up. And if the who is showing up isn't reflective of the audience that they're there to serve, then they're actually hitting their goal. They're actually hitting their mark, right? I did this conversation with the National Park Foundation, and they were like, I remember, and they were talking about, like, the people who go to national parks aren't representative of the country, which is a corporate way of saying they mostly white folks. So, so it's like, how do we get more Black and brown people from different communities to participate in national parks? And it's like, that's something that people are really thinking about. I was actually at a doctor's office the other day that wanted to do more diversity stuff, but every picture on their wall was a white man. Like, how they have those pictures on the wall that shows, like, your body and all that? It was all white men. And it was like, it's not even a man who works in this. It was nothing but women in the office. You have 100% women who work in this office and nothing but white men on the wall. Are there no pictures of other people? And she was like, I never thought about it that way. And today I'm actually I found some, and I'm sending her, hey, here are some other photos of the exact same photo with other people. Like, I think what it is that, like, you can't say, okay, I want this kind of thing, and then hope that it just hits you. You have to be intentional about what you want. And if you want to have more people, more diverse communities, you have to make intentional choices to have people of color on your walls, to shop in places. Like, you can't say, oh, I want to be more diverse and only hire diverse, but you're not spending diverse. You're not spending diverse. So it's like, okay, when you have your employee events, are you putting money in Black-owned businesses and Asian-owned businesses and Hispanic-owned businesses? No, you're going to the Chipotle. So it's like, how can you? Oh, we're this Mexican food. Like, no, you're not. You have to be diverse and intentional in everything that you do. That means who you hire. That means your practices and policies. That means where you spend your money, who you have on your wall, who you recognize. Who you follow on social media. Like, who you have as your face on your. Speaking at events, the events you go to. It's across all elements of what you do. And if it doesn't hit
when you mention certain things like going to a national park, and I had to think about it, I'm 73 and I've never been to a national park. I don't think about going, and I don't know what they do there. I know there's trees and grass.
You might not have realized he was at a national
park. I might not have realized it then,
because it looks like the same grass and trees, but you're not intentional about going. And in one of the conversations, she was like, so, like, why do you care about, this was like, hey, why do you care about national parks? And my immediate response was, I don't. like I don't care about national parks. And she's like, well, why do you want to work with us? And I was just like, well, the role isn't to care about national parks. The role is to get other people to care about national parks. And where I come from in San Bernardino, California, like in the environment that I grew up in, like it wasn't something that I was exposed to care about. Therefore, like I'm about, we can build programming and put it in communities where I came from, to where similar to where I came from, to where they could care about it when they do grow up and they want to go to the national parks, because technically they're paying for it. It comes out of our taxes, like where they're paying for it. So it's like, and there is beauty in national parks, but I just don't know. I don't know it. I was never exposed to it. So so, do you want somebody that cares about the parks, or do you want somebody that cares about the people enough to say this is something that the people should care about? And eventually I'll get there. But it's like, what do you really want? And it's being intentional about it.
So being intentional about any direction that you're going as a small business person, I kind of look at those kinds of things is that if I am intentional about being successful at certain things, and it's my intention to do certain things, but if something gets in the way and blocks it, does you just put that off or you restart that? Because my intentions was to make an appointment with you today, and I had every intentions to make it, and I looked at my watch and my appointment was at 1, it's 2:30. So that am I just a forgetful, lazy-minded person?
I think
Or
it's I think it's a couple things. I think one, the best place to put it, to keep an idea is in your head. So being intentional about writing things down in a way to where you can look at them again and being intentional about that. And then the second part of it is that like Jim Rohn says some things about this. He talks about how like you said that what if something gets in the way? I can tell you now that something will get in the way. It's inevitable. And because you know it's going to get into the way, how can you plan for it, right? You know that, you know, winter follows fall every year, and and summer follows spring every year for 100 years, thousands of years. And it's been that way, right? So it's like saying I want to start a business, but then being discouraged when winter comes. Like winter is coming. It comes. So like how do you prepare for the winter? He says this thing, Jim Rohn says this thing about like, don't, if you're a sailor, right? If you're like out on, on the boat and sailing, like don't pray for better winds. Don't pray for better winds. You pray to become a better sailor so you can manage any wind that comes your way. Any wind. So it's like anticipate the winters, anticipate the summers, and to it knowing that like I have the statement that I say every morning. It's I have the ability in me to figure it out. Like I don't have to know it, but I am resourceful enough and I have the ability to figure anything out. And if I see, okay, I'm tend to be forgetful about making appointments, then what I know that this is a winner. Okay, how do I go into it and operate in this space that I know is coming? And it's different if you know it's coming. It's different if you know, like you ever played a video game and you run in and you get hit by the guy and you die, the Mario Brothers, whatever. The next time you know it's coming. You know the guy is gonna be on this other side of this wall. So now you can prepare for it. So I'm telling you is that like every month, every year, every day, there's gonna be a guy behind the wall. And you should walk in knowing he's gonna. And now your guy is different than my guy. Your guy might be procrastination. My guy might be not having enough time or not feeling motivated to do it. There's a guy, and I know this guy because I've seen him before. And if you don't know who the guy is, look back in your past, and you can figure out who the guy is because it's the same guy that keep popping up, and figure out okay, and then who has beat this guy, right? My cousin Kev, right? I'd be like, yo, you beat this guy before. How did you beat this level? How did you beat this level? And he'll say, "Oh, when the guy come, you got to jump on his head, and then keep like it's like he's beat the guy, and he has the methods to do it. So me trying to figure it out on my own doesn't make any sense. And there are people that probably are in your circle that have beat that guy, and if not, there's somebody that's in the Black Chamber Network that have beat that guy, and if not, there's a book. People have literally have done things that you want to do, and it wrote how they do it in a book. And the book costs $16, and you can read it and know how to beat the guy, but you don't even want to read the book. So it's like, how do I beat that? How do I beat the level? But I know the level's coming. In a game without the guy is no fun. Imagine playing a game and there was no guy behind the wall and you're just running straight. How long would you play that game? That's not fun. Like, so taking pride in knowing that the challenge, the obstacle, the guy behind the wall is one of the reasons you pick the game up. That's what makes it fun, not the game, the guy. So walking into the level, knowing the guy is there every single day, every single day.
So the obstacles come, and as you prepare, get ready for those obstacles, and you expect them to come on a regular basis. And if they don't come, you continue to move forward in the game. If they do come, you're prepared yourself to be able to handle those obstacles. Now there's a joy in rejoicing that I was able to take that down, but it's like a game of chess. You got to get back up again. You got to move. You have to constantly move forward. When are you able to stop and take a break? Because you're playing the game, and the game will go on as long as it goes on. So when is it that you know obstacles are there? When can you wrestle one down? And I was always told the best time to win again is when you won the last one. So I don't have time to dance in the end zone because I got the next play coming up. How do you keep yourself moving for the next one and the next one? Because there's another one.
There's another one.
When you go, whew, man, there are no more coming, but they're always coming. So
yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's a. I have a podcast, right? On my podcast, I like called Lyrics and Lattes. I use hip hop lyrics to encourage people. It's a different concept, but it's fun, right? So as you were talking, two lyrics came up. One was a guy named Sugar Free out of Pomona. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, in a real way. And then two, Andre 3000 has a line where he says, "You're only as funky as your last cut." He says, "You're only as funky as your last cut. If you focused on the past, you're bound to be a has-what." And the concept is like, if you're so focused on your past win, touchdown dances, then it prevents you from getting future wins. And that your future ahead of you, the thing that's in front of you, is more important, more impactful than the thing behind you. So it's okay to put that thing down and go for the next thing. And it's constantly a state of motivation, but it's rooted in self-awareness. Because, like, there's a story about a guy that was like fishing. He was like on the beach fishing, and the guy was like, "I can teach you how to make, some money doing this fishing thing." He said, "Okay." So he taught him how to like make more fish, and he built a business, and he had these crab shacks, and he did, he built it in restaurants, and he became a billionaire. And then he said, "Okay, now that you have $1 billion, what are you gonna go do?" I'm gonna go fish on the beach." I said, "Wait a second. You were fishing on the beach and you were happy, and then you added all these extra pieces so you can make money, and then the thing you really just wanted to do was to go fish on the beach." Like, the self-awareness wasn't there, because now you did all these things for all these years that ultimately you just wanted to go fish on the beach. So it's like being self-aware to like, what do you actually want? And I think a lot of people don't hit their goals because they don't even know what they want. Like, forget like, oh, SMART goals, and forget that. What do you actually want? How do you want to live? Where do you want to live? What car do you want to drive? Do you want to be married? Like, these small things of identifying what you want allows you to say,
how does a person determine if they don't know what they want? They know they want something. How is it that you in your profession, how do you get me to understand what I want when I don't know?
Yeah, so there's a concept called ikigai, right? It's a Japanese term, and it helps you identify IKAGI, and it helps you identify your purpose. And it's an amazing tool of identifying what are you good at versus what people need, what works in the marketplace, and it really helps you identify like what should be a hobby, what should be a purpose, what should be a this, what should be a that. And it's a tool that I've used several times to help people really identify what would make them happiest in life. And it lines up. It's a book called Ikigai. It lines up really well. But I also think, like, and I liken goals to football, right? Like, you're a football fan, right? So it's I think people's goal. I saw this the other day in this post. I think people's goals are the touchdown, right, or to win the game, and that's not a goal, right? Like, the goal of football is the first down, like, and if you focus on the touchdown, you'll throw Hail Marys all day and be like, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working. But if your goal is the first down, then you understand the incremental steps that is necessary to get to the touchdown, right? That's the goal. So it's like, and when I was trying to lose weight, I was at like 230 and I was trying to get down and I hit like 212. And no matter what I do, I couldn't get beyond 212. And I felt like I was failing. I felt like I wasn't. And I had to learn through this book called Atomic Habits that I had to learn that me losing weight, me going from 230 to 195 wasn't the goal. It's a metric. That's a metric, right? The goal is me becoming a healthy person. That's what the goal is. The goal is I want to be a healthy person, period. In the metric, one of the metrics is the weight. The number on a scale is one of the metrics. There are other metrics, right? There are metrics of, do I feel less winded, and the better sex life? Do you have more? Are you comfortable getting up and down? There's so many more metrics to being healthy. If you only focus on the number of the scale, you will think that the metric is a goal. The metric isn't the goal, right? The goal is who you want to become. So it's like, first downs is the name of, that's the goal of football. First downs. You get enough first downs, you'll win the game. You get enough first downs, you'll get a touchdown. So it's like, that's the name of the game. So so I think, to answer your question more specifically, book called Ikigai, and there's like a tool you can look it up, or you can get the summary of it, and it's like you can actually walk through, write everything you like to do out, and you can place it on this map, and it'll tell you your goals. It'll tell you your purpose. It'll tell you your hobbies. It'll tell you, and it works very well. This is something that's been studied for hundreds of years. So this is, somebody else has an idea that's been studied for longer than you've been born. Try it.
When I look back and I'm listening to what you're telling me, and I look back at over the past years, that all of the things that I've done, and looking for my purpose and my goal, and now that I'm where I'm at now, all of those pieces that were part of my home inspection program that I started, uh, uh, now I use part of that for this. I use all of the lessons that I thought were my goals or my achievements or my whatever it was. And then when I changed jobs or changed entrepreneurship ideas and winded up doing this, all of those other pieces that really didn't have anything to do with anything, now I'm putting them all together and they do work as a puzzle. So I tell people all the time, life is a big puzzle, and I use some people around me to put pieces in place so that I can see which direction that I'm going, because it's very difficult to tell that this is the way I'm supposed to go, because you can believe this is the way you're supposed to go, and then all of a sudden you have a flat, and then by the time you get your tire fixed, the road's blocked, and then you turn around, you're going in a different direction, but you've learned something about that particular goal that you were heading at. So I see some things that people really believe that they're supposed to be doing it. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is where I'm headed. And then you see them next week and they're selling water, and trying to get you to sound the down line, or they got insurance. So the multi-level marketing gurus of the world that will get you in a meeting and say, oh, you can make $1 million doing this, and you can do this and that, and I believe in this. And then you see them 2 weeks later and they're selling vitamins. So
It didn't work.
A person that's a good salesperson, I would say, that are bouncing, that can't find the right product, is that someone that doesn't know their goal, is just selling and not necessarily trying to be the A1 vitamin or the A1 water guy. At one point, the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce had so many people joining selling water. I'm like, where all these water salesmen came from? And then it just went away. They went from that to healthy things and real estate and all of these other different pieces that they believe were their goal and were what they were supposed to be doing. But when it didn't pan out at a certain time, because I think people have timelines. I've been doing the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce for 30 years. People see me today and they go, "You still doing that?" I said, "Yeah, I'm still doing that. We've added some other things to it, but how long do you go before you let go?"
I mean, that's a tricky question. I mean, there's a book around like quitting, like that quitting is okay, right? And it's knowing when to quit and when not to quit. Ultimately, I think a lot of it is like, I mentioned about being binary earlier. Did you go to the gym? Did you not go to the gym? Consistency is by itself a goal. Did I say consistent at this thing? I think there's also the Bible talks about in Proverbs 14:23. It says, "In all labor there's profit," right? In all labor there's profit, and either there's profit that comes to you or profit that works on you, but in all labor there's profit. And I think some people don't stick it out long enough to see what's on the other side of it. Because if you are doing something long enough, if you plant a seed into the ground, it will bear fruit eventually, right? Now, some trees take longer to bear fruit than others, but they all do. So understanding that, putting the time and the energy and work into something, because the issue is that if you're going to go from 0 to 5, and if you don't see the thing that you need, you're going to go from 0 to 5 again, and then 0 to 5 again. And it's like the success will not happen in 5 at anything that you do. You're looking for you're throwing touchdown passes, looking for the touchdown. That you have to get to the 30, to the 40. People who do YouTube, right, do 5. You can't even see your stats in YouTube without having at least 30 episodes. You need 30 pieces of content before you could even look at your stats to see what works and what doesn't work. Most people who do podcasts do 12 episodes. You don't even have enough data to see if this is even working or not. But you stop because you're looking to get big on 12. And it's like, no, you need to put in 100 before you could even think about, this next stage. I think it's a lot of that. Also, I think it's like, I don't know, for the believers that are listening, I am a believer that no matter what I do, I will win. No matter what it is. So you're putting faith into the thing. You're putting faith into the water or the juice or the vending machines or the laundromat you're putting too much faith into that thing. And if Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon, started an ice cream shop, it'd be the biggest ice cream shop in the world. If Steve Jobs started a furniture company, it'd be one of the best furniture companies in the world. And the faith isn't in the furniture or in the ice cream or in the books or in the Amazon store. It's not in the thing. The thing that's going to hit isn't the idea. The thing that's going to hit is the person that you become. If you become this thing, then that thing will manifest itself into building that thing that will then take off. And it doesn't matter what tool you yield. No matter if you get a tool, you put that mug in Dwayne Johnson or Steven Seagal, right? I've seen Steven Seagal at Jackie Chan. Steven Seagal, right? Steven Seagal. I've seen Steven Seagal take some people out with anything. Chuck Norris, what's that? There's with MacGyver. MacGyver can use anything, right? And so if you get a pen, to me it's just a pen. But to Steven Seagal or MacGyver, that thing is a tool to get out of a box. It's a tool to take somebody out. You can take out 50 people. So it's like you're putting too much energy into the tool, thinking that the business is going to be the water is going to be the thing that's going to take me the thing. It's not the water. It's not the water. It's not the TVs. It's not the coaching. It's not the consulting. It's none of those things. It's you. If you work on yourself more than you work on your job and you become the person, then you can use that pen, you can use that water and make the thing you want to hit. So it's just the faith in yourself more than it is the faith in the thing, whether it be real estate or selling ice cream. It don't matter. It don't matter.
I hear what you're saying, and for those that don't know, this is my son, and he sounds exactly the way I sound because people will ask me, well, what is what is the chamber, or what is it going to do for me? I say the fact that you get an opportunity to talk to me is a reward for you. I should be charging you for this conversation. So it's necessary to know that you know that you know that you know. So in moving forward, there's no such thing as luck. There's a belief system. I had my brother came over here the other day in my print shop, and we talked about the coffee shop, and we talked about the school and the theater and all of the different things. And I asked him, I said, well, what do you think about all of this that we're doing right here? He says, well, I'm glad to see it, but I'm not impressed. I said, what do you mean you're not impressed? He said, I would have expected more from you by now. And I'm like, we got a studio and we got this. He says, I'm not impressed. I expected this plus more. So sometimes when you're doing things, your expectations, or when you're looking at it, the people that are watching you move forward are expecting more from you than you are out of yourself. So
Yeah,
you have to continue, because you don't know who's watching and how they're watching, and you don't know how you're touching other people's lives when you're moving. You're just moving. You're just moving in a direction of Jeff Bezos and some of those people that you talked about, and the people that wrote the book. You're reading this materials and stuff, and pouring into you. You believe that you're pouring in and you're making yourself a much better person, but around you, people are becoming much better people
exactly.
because they're walking their walk. Yeah.
I heard this thing that people that are not impressed by you is one of the best forms of compliments you could ever receive, because people being impressed is a gap between what they thought you can do to what actually were impressed. So what you did was the expectations that they had that you could do. So it's like people that are not impressed by you, or that's a compliment. Like you knew I could do this. People like walk in like, oh man, you got all of this, and oh man, this is. Those people are like, they didn't think you could do it. That's why they're impressed. Because if Dwayne Johnson did it, if The Rock had did it, they wouldn't be impressed because they knew The Rock could do it. But when you do it, they don't think you could do it. So it's like, oh, when people come over my house, say, oh, you got this nice house, like, oh, you got it, like, why you so surprised?
Yeah.
Why you so surprised? I'm better than Nas. Like,
Better
like, you know what I can do. You know what I'm capable of. Why are you so impressed that I can have this thing? So people not being, I used to get upset because my wife wasn't impressed. I feel like I would do all these things and she wouldn't be impressed. And I realized that's one of the best forms of compliments. I came home, I did an event with the president of the United States of America. I was with the president all day. I came home, she didn't even ask me about it. I'm like, she didn't even ask me. She didn't ask me how it went, what happened. She's like, oh, can you get the kids and do the dishes and da 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 da? You know why? Because she was used to it. She wasn't impressed. She expects that of me. It
and
took me a
that's
while
a
to see that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that it hit me when I was talking to my brother here yesterday, and he was saying, oh, it's nice, but I'm not impressed. And I'm like, first when he first said it, I'm like, well, you a hater, No, I jumped right down on him, because I'm thinking, hey, I'm showing off, I'm telling them this and how much this costs and how long it took to get this done and all of these different trials and tribulation that we went through just to get to this point. And he goes, well, okay, so, and then I realized that, okay, the expectation that you have is different. But what do you think about the people that have a lower expectation or just flat out doesn't believe that you believe what you believe? They think, well, oh, you're just lucky, or your parents are or were able to do this, or your cousin was able to do certain things. And I tell people, well, that's true because people have placed God has placed those people around me so that I can have a good commercial or a good theme song, because I don't know anything about those kinds of things. We're opening up a music studio and I know how to play records, so it's I don't even know what they call recordings today. Are they downloads, or they albums, or they CDs? I got some CDs in the mail the other day, and people were laughing at me at the office. They go, "What are you going to do with those?" And I said, "I have a CD player." So And they go, really? So I have a CD player in my car, still. So, and I just got them in the mail, the oldies from whatever it is that they talk about on TV. You get all of these songs and they mail me
Oh,
the CDs.
that list that comes down to all the songs
Yeah,
every
yeah,
time.
all the stuff.
Yeah.
I bought those and I got them in the mail the other day. And my assistant here, she goes, what are you going to do with those? What are you going to play them on? I said, I have a CD player. She said, really? And I thought about it. I said, well, I'm going to play them in the computer so you'll hear. But all the computers we have are new. They don't have CD players on them.
Yeah, you could just go to, those things is free. You can just go online and download them.
Yeah.
Go to Spotify. You got a Spotify account. I said, help you said you got a Spotify account. You could just create a playlist and just let it play.
And when I was watching it on TV, it was only $79.99, and I bought
$79.
$79.
You could have bought 10 Spotify accounts.
And the shipping was almost as much. And when I got them, I realized I don't have anything to play them on, and I do have 2 of the download programs, Spotify and something else.
What were you watching when you saw that commercial?
Late night TV.
So
I was watching.
So I say this about marketing, right? Like the commercial is actually the show, and the show is the commercial. For instance, like if you watch Matlock, all the commercials for Matlock are like targeted for elderly people. Like I love Matlock, and that's why I mention it. It's targeted for elderly people because they know these people are watching it and they're comfortable doing that mode to get the thing that they want. Versus if you were to watch Blackish, you'll never see that commercial for Blackish because they know people aren't going to buy it. So you have to have been watching something that spoke to the audience that that you were in. So I think it's amazing marketing.
And I was watching that channel that Matt.
You're watching In the Heat of the Night.
I was actually watching Archie Bunker.
Archie Bunker, the Golden Girls. You're like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, listen, that's what I thought. And they played it, and Jerry Butler and some of the people that young folks have never heard of. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna love that, And $79.99, I had the card in the hand, and they flashed a number enough time for me to write it down and order it. And I just got them in the mail, and I got my CD sets, and it just looked good on TV. So I did order them, but that's the idea of marketing and who you're marketing to. So as I'm going to get into our marketing commercial, as you see behind me, there are golfers playing golf. We have our celebrity golf tournament coming up Juneteenth, our Juneteenth celebration. That will be at the Pasadena Rose Bowl, Brookside Country Club on Juneteenth. Go to our website at blackchamberofcommerce.org, and you can get some information about participating in our celebrity golf tournament. And also in October, we will be bringing our mergers and acquisition conference back. We're looking at taking it to Palm Springs. You'll see more detail on our website about our conference coming up October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th out in the Palm Springs area at blackchamberofcommerce.org. Go to our website. There are many other events that we're holding out in the Southern California region. We're doing our Women of Dignity luncheon coming up on March 23rd. So continue to go to the Black Chamber of Commerce website and check us out. This has been an episode of Strictly Business. I want to thank Mr. Jason Wallace for coming out. This is my son. I am so proud of him. I had a couple of mayors come back to me and say, hey, you got him a hookup in DC, and they were excited about that. So if I can get some photos, I can push my numbers up a little bit higher, and maybe get the mayor to buy me lunch. We both belong to a couple of clubs together. So is there anything you want to say as we get ready to sign off, Jason?
No, just keep pushing, keep grinding, and the kind of content that I do. I mean, you can check out bluegoose.co to find me, or Lyrics and Lattes on any streaming service for podcasts.
You guys check out that Lyrics and Lattes. It's fantastic. We got a cafe opening up in about 2 months called Lyrics and Latte here in the city of San Bernardino. My name's Rich Wallace. You've been on Strictly Business. Thank you so much for joining me.